Hey everybody, I am your host, Nicole Mendes, and welcome back to Diamond in the South, a podcast on the South America Podcast Network. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, not just to this one, but to the rest of the podcasts on South America Network. And you guys never fail to be able to get a ton of great softball content as it rolls in. This week was absolutely no exception, and we will get to that. We had some record-breaking speed this week. We had some dominating teams, some upsets, but also we're going to have a fantastic interview. We have Bri Ellis joining us, so we're going to go ahead and get to that. Bri Ellis, come on in, girl.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, girl, I am doing great. Life is good. Softball season is rolling. I think what really makes me so good right now is whenever I was talking to Gray, our producer, before, I was like, man, I feel like we've hit that point in the season where you play a midweek and your body's like, I'm not okay. And I'm great because I don't have to feel like that. I remember what that felt like and I don't have to go through it this year. But yeah, life is good. Life is good.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. As pain is on your face.
Like,
Well,
like my clothes are soaked from practice.
from sweater rain.
Sweat and then cold tub.
Oh, are you a big cold tubber?
I, c- I don't like it, but sometimes it's the only thing that like makes my entire body like rejuvenate. So
Mm-hmm.
it was one of those days today.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. Speaking of speed, though, you were up to bat whenever y'all played Tennessee. I saw the tweet and you're like, can confirm 78.2. And I'll be honest. So I play pro, used to play in college. The fastest that I had ever seen was from my own teammate, Paige Lowry, and she threw 75. And I
Mhm.
was like, no way anybody in the whole world's ever going to beat this. Carlin Pickens comes out and she starts throwing. And I'm like, those those guns are juiced. And then there's a lot of other girls chirping around. They're like, it's juice, it's juice. Can't confirm. Tell me what what goes through your head whenever you see
Yeah,
78?
yeah. I can confirm guns were not juiced. Like that's legit. That was a legit speed. Like when I saw that pitch, I was like, "Yep, yep." Like my internal like radar was like, "Yeah, that's got to be 78 right there." Like
Said,
that's one. But no, when I saw that specific pitch, like I obviously like I didn't know it was how fast it was, but I knew I was like, okay, that one had a little bit extra on it than the other one. Like, I'm glad it was up and away because I wasn't touching that for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she throws hard and then also has this like phenomenal change up off speed situation going. So it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're you got to start swinging before it comes out of her hand, and then next thing you know, it's like a 65-mile-an-hour. Her changeup is 65 miles an hour, by the way, and it's still like that would be considered like a fast pitch, but I was like getting so fooled by it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a lethal combo that she has going on. But yeah, that had some heat on it for sure.
I watched the video a couple times and I have to say I was impressed. Very active take by you. Hips
Oh,
were
I had to like I had to start like everything had to start before it felt like the
yeah.
ball even left her hand. Like so yeah, but someone pointed out you could see like my head tilting a little bit. Like after I saw the pitch, I went so that I thought that was so funny because that's so like I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This softball season, you have just been unreal. Like honestly, just unreal. And I do want to touch on this a little bit because whenever I was playing, you ask any athlete, I, I I think everybody has this kind of experience, especially in softball or baseball, where you get as a hitter into a slump and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I thought I was good at this, and now I feel like I couldn't hit a freaking barn if I tried. And you had made a post talking about how you were kind of struggling and how mentally it was taxing and being able to get that one hit, right? That's
Mhm.
you just need one, just need
Yeah.
one, and then all of a sudden you're out of it, and then you're rolling and you're rocking just how you normally do. But tell me a little bit about the time leading up to it. Did people really know that you're feeling like that? Like, talk to me about that.
Um, Definitely my teammates knew. It was definitely, especially for like the newcomers and the freshmen, they were kind of like, "Oh, like we thought she could hit," and then all of a sudden I hadn't hit the entire fall until like the very last, I think, inter squad scrimmage. And so I just remember it being like super frustrating and
Mhm.
nothing was working. And I'm a huge perfectionist and I'm huge on like making adjustments. Um, and so I was just doing everything in the book, and nothing was working. And I mean, nothing was working. And so, uh, funny story actually is that it took one day of I like my class schedule sucks and so I have to like eat really close to practice. Little TMI, but I ate a little too close to practice and then I ended up throwing up for like the major like first hour. First
Oh my
hour,
gosh.
yeah, puking my guts out in the first base dugout. And after that, I was so just exhausted and like my body just I had nothing left, but I knew I wanted to get some swings in because season was coming up. We had like a week or two before our first game, and I was like, yeah, I don't care if I was just puking for an hour, like I gotta get up there and swing. And I think we were hitting live that day off our pitchers. And so I went and warmed up a little bit off the tee, came out, and I think I went like three or like 4 for 4 with 3 home runs and a double. I was like, what's going on? Like, finally, I can hit again. What's going on? Well, what we think happened was that I was so exhausted from like throwing up so much that I just finally like just like let it go and like just let
Mhm.
my body take over. Um, and just kind of like let things happen instead of like trying to go out and make everything happen and just got to be on point. Like I expected nothing out of myself. Um,
Yeah.
and so that is so funny, but that actually truly was the turning point in my season and in my senior year. And so ever since then, it's just been a lot of like relaxed, letting it go. Like if I get out, who cares? Like it's, you know, I'm not trying to make anything happen. I'm letting things happen and that's huge for me. And so um I've definitely kind of like taken a couple steps back recently, especially after this past weekend. Just I mean facing the best pitching staff in the country. Um it like kind of does a little number with you, especially cuz I couldn't go in with my normal swing off a 78-mile-an-hour drop ball inside.
As one does, yeah.
So I had to make a little adjustments, and so now I'm trying to get back to where I was before this weekend. But yeah, just trying to stay cool, calm, and collected, and just kind of like letting the game happen.
Yeah, I'm curious because as a fellow perfectionist
Mhm.
myself, I'm like, all right, like just relax, just be cool,
Yeah.
don't stress. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm so relaxed right now, and I'm not. I'm anything but right. What cues do you give yourself that actually work for you to go like, all right, let's chill
So
out?
I have like a plan A and like a plan B in that
Mhm.
situation. So my plan A is I have to physically feel my like all my muscles in my body relax because I'm in the
Mm.
box and I'm like tensed up like this. And so I like have to relax everything from like my ankle bones to my back to my traps. Like I just have everything has to be relaxed. Usually that does the trick because that's usually what's causing me to just every
Yeah.
swing. But if that doesn't work, then I actually sing a song in my head. Uh,
Mhm.
and what's the song? It's like for some reason under pressure I can only think of one song and it's the song that goes like I'm like a bird, I wanna fly.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm
I
in the
thought you
box,
were saying under
I'm singing
pressure.
that to Coach Gastel's laughing at me. So, like, worst case scenario, I can't like, I don't know, I can't see the ball, whatever, I'll be singing that song in my head and just kinda, like, letting it happen. Like, that's, like, really, truly, like, letting loose, letting go, letting it all flow.
Just let it flow.
Yeah.
Just let it ease out. I love that. I for a second I thought you were saying saying that you sing under pressure. You know, it's like under pressure. I thought that was the one. I was
That's
like, oh,
actually funny
all
too.
right.
That's funny.
I love it. So as far as just softball side, like that has totally changed your game. You can tell, like you said, sometimes you have to adjust. You can't have your normal swing. You have to pivot. You have to turn. We'll touch on that a little bit whenever we talk about game IQ and things like that. But just being able to adjust on the fly, that's not always an easy thing to do. Do you have somebody that helps you with that? The accountability piece of like a teammate is like, hey, like relax. Like if plan A, plan B doesn't work out in the box, right? Whenever it's in between.
Yeah, they definitely know like when I just need a little laugh or like just kind of like pat me on the back because I don't know that I'm very approachable in the dugout after 3 strikeouts back to back to back. I don't know that I'm the most like happy go lucky person, but it's just because I'm like so like up here and internal
Mm-hmm.
everything, and so they know that and they kind of like ease up to me and just be like, hey, like, it's okay,
Hey.
like it's all right, you're still batting over 500, it's okay. And then usually it's, oh my gosh, another funny story this weekend. Again, I was internalizing everything, couldn't hit the ball like in warm-ups, was freaking out. And before the last game against Tennessee, um, Coach Gasso knew my favorite player like of all time was Lauren Chamberlain. And so
Mhm.
he brings me off the field in like in our like hitting lines. He brings me off the field and or our infield lines, brings me off into the dugout. He has Lauren Chamberlain on the phone.
He called low.
Yes. And I like this was like the coolest moment of my entire life. And I felt like a little kid. Like I kept saying I feel like a little kid meeting Michael Jordan because she is my Michael Jordan. Like
Yeah.
she's everything to me. And so I was so like just overwhelmed by all the emotions and all the stress that I saw like Lauren freaking Chamberlain on the phone. I was just like, "Oh my god," and like just start like crying,
Oh.
like just me and Lauren Chamberlain crying on the phone, and
Oh.
her baby was there, and
Her
so
baby's so
he
cute.
was talking me through it, and I was just like, "Yeah, I can't get my sequence down." Like, um, yeah, basically that was it. And then she was like, "That's happened to me so many times." And just that sentence alone was like, "Okay, I'm not alone here. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened." But um, basically, what she said was like, even like if you're going 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, you still have to know like who you are and you're the best hitter on that field every time you go into the box. And so I was like, okay, if anyone can get to my head right now, like if anyone can get through to me, it's going to be Lauren Chamberlain. So I'm going to listen. And so that's what I did. First at bat, and then second pitch, I hit it over the fence. And so I like that moment was the coolest moment probably of my entire career. And it was like the only 2 runs we scored. Like we ended up losing the game. Who cares? But I was like that moment, and all my teammates knew like how cool
Yeah.
it was and
Yeah.
how much it meant. But yeah, like sometimes you just got to get a little bit lucky, and things just kind of have to go your way, and the wind has to be blowing out a little bit. And yeah, so that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Lauren Chamberlain, she's the best. She's so great, not only with what she did, but also just how she gives back. So Jossie and I were roommates in college, and she had been going through a slump, did the same thing with her and kind of gave her the same exact advice. And Jossie would say that over and over again. And that's what she tells a lot of young players as well is, hey, like, know who you are. It doesn't matter. Like, that's an external cue. It doesn't have to do with anything of who you are as a hitter, what you can do with one swing of the bat, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just hit it over the fence, right? It really doesn't matter. So I love her passion for being able to go and encourage and just remind other athletes who are just phenomenal. Hey, this is what you are. This is what you do. This is how you play. Don't forget that. I think sometimes it can be easy to be wrapped up in that. But switching over to a little something more lighthearted, I was instructed by Brady Vernon to
Oh my
ask this question because there has been some I think I'm the moderator here. I'm
Yeah,
like the go-between.
you're the middleman.
There's some Twitter feud going on, not just with you and him, but your sister lives in his walls. Like, I don't know, what is the deal? What's the story there?
So I think it all kind of started. My family is crazy. Like I tell everybody that my family is crazy, and they just flat out don't care. Like digital footprint, never heard of her. And so my mom just picks and chooses the weirdest battles, in my opinion. And one day she just had it out for softball America and Brady Vernon specifically because it was like she didn't like they didn't put my picture. I think they put Jordan Woolery on the front page of the first baseman thing instead of me, and she was like, Bri Ellis is number one. Why is she not the cover page like at Brady Vernon? Like, oh my gosh. And then it was getting to a point after my sister was like, like, I'm coming for you, Brady Vernon. Like, I had to DM him and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about my family. I cannot control them. Like, that's just what that is. And, and that's when I was like, oh, I thought we were cool. Like, he was like, don't worry, I
Yeah,
can deal with
he's
OU
your guy.
time. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't, yeah, that you got that. But oh my gosh, what was it? Was it was against OU, yeah. And I
Mhm.
struck out twice against Sam Landry. And he tweeted, he was like, Bri Ellis like doubled her strikeout. I don't know what it was. Maybe that was someone else, but
That was for sure Brady.
yeah, it was something like that. Like doubled her season strikeout in one at bat or something like that, or matched her entire season. I don't know what it was, but I was like, "Thanks, Brady." Like, wow, you could have just said like, "Yeah, Sam Landry pitched a lights out game. It was phenomenal." Like, had to put first and last name Bri Ellis, and then exactly what I did. And so I said, "Thanks, Brady," and then a little thumbs up emoji, and then everyone was like, well, that's what's gonna happen. Like, taking it out. They strike out all the time, and I was like, y'all stop. But yeah,
Stop.
Brady, we're cool now because I got back, and he said it'd be nice to hit a home run, and then I hit 2 home runs the next day, so it ended up working out, and
There we
so
go.
right,
He spoke it into existence for you.
exactly.
Hey, it could have been worse. He could have tagged your mom and your sister in that tweet. Could have
I
been worse.
I don't know what would have happened. It's like
Any notes so I don't have your sister also living in my walls? Like, should you be the cover photo or
I like, see what I mean? Like, cover photo out of all the things, like, so still ranks me number 1, like, pick and choose your battles. You got what you wanted, mom. You got Bri Ellis as the number 1 first baseman. She doesn't need to be the cover photo of the Twitter post. And so any notes? No. Honestly, like, I I don't know. I don't even know, like, what to say because they're so crazy and weird. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Speaking of crazy and weird, you had a TikTok, which you're on TikTok a lot, which I love. I always like whenever I see your videos, I'm like, but you posted one TikTok and you're like, I see everybody this year on softball just like really, really doing the Lord's work basically, and they're posting. What has
Yeah.
been like the funniest team or like the best softball
Oh,
related TikTok that you've seen? Because I feel like there's been so many trends and
oh,
themes this year.
the it's been a while, and it, like I think I made that video after I saw it was, like, the Texas big back names. I was crying laughing at that. It was so funny, and that's when I posted that video, but there were so many. They're all in my reposts. I would have to go look, but there's so many. It's like everyone's getting extra creative this year,
Oh,
and
love it.
finally, some good news after all the sorry, Coach Gasso is trolling me, but
Hey,
finally
DJ, get out of here.
he
Get
was
out of
in here
here,
earlier,
DJ.
but he's just trying to be the center of attention.
As
Um,
always.
I was gonna say finally some light after the whole like "you're so funny" trend. Everyone was like, "What's going on with softball?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Well,
That one, I was like, are we okay? Like as a whole? Do we need to have like a check-in?
like some things just keep to yourself." Like
Yeah. if it happened over 5 years ago and you're okay, then not, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I know you're crazy busy. You're about to head into the weekend, big series, so I will wrap this up. But I just wanted to ask you a couple of IQ questions because you hear a lot of college athletes and they're like, oh, like, what's your favorite TikTok? Like, what's your game plan? Like, all these things. But one thing I feel like isn't talked enough about is how do you develop IQ? Like, how do you even know what IQ is? For the longest time, I knew I had a high softball IQ, but being able to explain and go like, "Oh, I think about it like this." I couldn't even come up with a definition. And I think talking about that and just letting other people know and sharing that information, just like Lauren shared that with you, that makes you better. That puts you into a space where your IQ just levels up. And somebody else, a young kid watching this, a parent may, oh, okay, this is a good piece of advice, or another athlete watching may have that same thought. So I just want to ask a couple of quick rapid fire like IQ questions. Doesn't have to be long, maybe 5-10 seconds each on your answers. But one thing we kind of touched on it earlier with, okay, I have my swing, I rock and roll with it, but I gotta change it up. Like, she's throwing 78. Something's not working, or I just physically don't have the time to react. I think it was like takes longer to blink than it does to for
Yeah.
that pitch to get
It
there. And
sure
you're like,
felt like it.
okay. So with that, whenever you're going in, you're net bat deep, or you're hearing the chatter from teammates, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to change my idea, my game plan, whatever it is. What what do you physically do? Because a lot of times you hear the average talk of like, okay, I'm gonna start early. I'm gonna start whenever her hands up halfway before she even releases. Or I'm not gonna be late, whatever. And it's a little bit more generic. How do you get really granular with your adjustments whenever you need to make them quickly?
um Obviously, the like you said, the generic answer would be like starting earlier, but I think specifically it would be getting my front foot down in time, because that's like the way my load works is the second I get my foot down, that's when my swing starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, getting my foot down and picking a specific time where my foot is down and my swing starts.
Mm-hmm. Kind of piggybacking off of that too, going a next step further of, do you catch yourself sometimes, or have you been able to develop over the years, like you've been able to be in college and perform at a high level, but when did you start going, okay, start early is a great starting point, but it's not enough, especially whenever I'm trying to make a very specific game plan.
Mm.
I got to be a little bit more, okay, it's just my foot getting down earlier. Like, when did you start to evolve from the start early mindset to, okay, let me find something very specific that applies to me in my swing?
Um, honestly, kind of recently.
Yeah.
Uh, like I want to say in the OU series, um, that's like better late than never, right? But yeah. So my whole like college career, I had this huge leg kick, and I mean, my freshman and sophomore year, I was just late for everything, and in my opinion, like I just got lucky. Uh, got lucky 20 times my freshman year. I got lucky 14 times my sophomore year.
It's a lot
Um,
of times to get lucky.
but that's just how I see it in my brain.
Barrel control goes crazy, but that's my opinion.
And then yeah, I got to Arkansas and I spoke with Coach Gasso, and he was like, you're so good, like you don't need to change your swing. And I was like, no, Coach Gasso, blah blah, blah, quit. Like quit the all the like fuzzy talk. Like I know I have holes in my swing. I need you to fix them, and we need to start this now. Like
Mhm.
So that was my junior year, and so we kind of changed the leg kick, and it's still like it was still high, but it was less of just standing straight up, picking my leg up and putting it down, and more of
Mhm.
like loading into my back hip, and
Yeah.
like kind of like I almost see it now as like a little dance with the pitcher. Like I'm dancing, okay, like we're rocking back and forth.
Mhm.
But yeah, the specific foot down part came hitting off Kirsten Deal, because I was late off Sam Landry, and then I was late again, and I was like, okay, when am I gonna make an adjustment, or am I just gonna sit here and strike out for 3 games in
Mhm.
a row? And so because Kirsten's stuff moves a lot, and because she
Mhm.
well, and then she also has that like it's like an off speed, but it just kind of like hovers to the like
It's
outer,
a hovery pitch,
yeah,
yeah.
it kind of like stays there, and so like you can see it, but my mind kept like freezing and like just like. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to swing at that pitch. We're gonna be big girls here. We're gonna swing at that pitch. And so without even meaning to, I got my foot down earlier, and then I was able to see it and then let it get deep and make a decision. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like giving me time to do all the like technical pieces of it, and like swing decision stuff. But yeah, I would watch that video and I was like, man, I got my foot down really early, and like it seemed to work. And so I kept doing it, and it kept working out for me. And I ended up hitting pretty well the rest of that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because, like you mentioned, watching the footage of yourself and going back and being able to go, okay, this was something different that I don't typically do. Had success. Did that contribute? Did it not? If it did, great. If not, all right, whatever. Keep moving on. And obviously, it did. So I love that. Last question for you, and then I'll let you go. But um, on the IQ side, again, just whenever you got to Arkansas and you're developing and everything's new because it's a new program, right? And you're having to learn this program's culture, but then you're also kind of changing stuff up in your swing. You're getting integrated. It's not like you're freshman, but like you're freshman again. This year, what has changed for you? I think more so, especially like on the mental side, um, as far as like, okay, I know where I am here at this point, like talent level, skill wise, acquisition, all of that. But whenever it comes to what can I do to be, I don't like, I want to be 10 times better, but can I be this much better? Has there been a skill or a certain side of the plate or something that you're like, I just want to be like that much better at? Have you found something like that in your play, defense, offense?
Yeah, I would say offense. And it would be getting multiple hits a game, because I felt
Mm,
like last year I would like hit a home run my first at bat, and then I would almost like kind of lose focus a little bit. And it sounds weird to say because that doesn't really sound like me, but me being
yeah.
very critical of myself, I was like, well, why didn't you swing at that pitch? Like, what?
Mm,
Yeah, you hit a home run, but like that's not all we're trying to do here. And so this year I've been really trying to like yeah, I just hit a home run, but like there's still more at bats in the game. There's still more runs to get, and there's still more like, you know, spots in the field to find.
yeah.
And instead of being, approaching the at bat like, okay, well, I just hit a home run on hard in, so I'm not going to get that anymore. Like, I'm just sticking to my original plan of like what I'm sitting on, instead of
Hmm.
trying to be the opposing team's pitching coach, which is what
Hmm.
I do a lot, and that's when things get messy. But
Hmm.
sticking to my original plan, even though I already did hit a home run or I already did hit a double, like sticking with it throughout the game instead of like giving up and changing in like panic mode.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. I lied. I do have one more question for you. If I were to go visit the University of Arkansas, what is one place that I have to stop by? Food, shopping, coffee, I don't know, out sunset spot, whatever it is, but if I go, I
Oh
have
yeah.
to go here.
So there's like so it's very like hilly, mountainy. There's like a spot. It's called Mount Sequoia. It's like a 5-minute drive from the field, but you basically just drive straight up, and then you just like get this beautiful view of like the city of Fayetteville, and then there's like this giant like white cross there, and it's just like this really nice, peaceful place to like watch the sunset, maybe do some homework, go to say a few prayers, or whatever it is that you know how like fills you up in that way. But that it's
Hmm.
such a peaceful place, and I definitely, it's kind of like a little bit life changing, a little bit like when you see the sun
Yeah.
from up there. It's so beautiful, and it's so like reminds you that you're just like a human on a rock, and you're not like,
Mhm.
you know, in the middle of like a hitting slump.
Yeah. Hey, nothing I honestly, I believe this. There's nothing like nature to really
Oh,
just kind of remind you, like, I'm this big and the earth is this big, and softball is, like, even tinier than me,
yeah.
so it's not that big of a deal. We love some good perspective,
Yeah.
right? We
Yes.
love some good perspective. Okay, well, Bri, thank you so much for hopping on, just chatting about everything. I will tell Brady your sister's no longer in his walls. Everything's all good, a little tit for tat, but slate's clean. So we're all good moving
Yeah.
forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, I will be watching her as she continues to absolutely crush it. And I think the perspective that she was talking about with, okay, mentally, where my mind's at might not be getting the result that I want physically, but mentally, how can I stay in? And I think it kind of ties back to what she said at the very end of, okay, I went up and I hit a home run and I have to still stay locked in. I still have to be in this game. I still have to be in this at bat. There's still, like she said, places on the field that the ball can fall. And I think that also applies that mindset. She didn't explicitly say it, but I know I've thought this before whenever I've been playing is, okay, maybe I didn't get the home run. Maybe I got that strikeout, or maybe I rolled over or whatever, right? But I go up to the plate and I'm like, that doesn't exist. I'm sticking with my plan. What is it that I can do? There's still space on the field that I can get a hit on. There's still a way that I can contribute, and not taking at bats off, um, intentionally or unintentionally. So I love the way that she explained that, and I think it applies to both sides whenever you're having success as a hitter versus not. I think as hitters, we're a little bit lucky because we get more time in between each at bat versus, I would say, on the pitcher side, it's pitch, pitch, pitch. You're in it every single pitch until the next inning. So you do get a half inning off, but you're going to get a lot more reps. But that same application applies. You have to use it a lot more often than a hitter does. So really being able to be intentional with that is huge. That was Bri Ellis from Arkansas, and she was phenomenal, fantastic. This is the, I think, point in the season. I kind of brought this up early on in the interview where teams, midweek games, the weekends, you're starting to see the wear and tear start to come on. And you're like, oh, okay, my body's getting a little tired. It's getting a little stiff. What's going on here? How is it all going? I think that at this point in the season, being able to do a reset, a quick, we're good. Off days are so important, and I think after this weekend, we're gonna see some teams implement them and some teams not. And my prediction, I'm just tossing this out there. My prediction is that within 3 weeks' time, we're gonna see those teams that took a day off, and we're gonna see them look a lot more refreshed, a lot readier than the teams that didn't take that day off and really prior prioritize their rest. I think that's a big thing, and recovery. Um, it's one thing to get rest, but if you're not fueling yourself right, if you're not getting to bed early enough, you could get 8 hours, but if I get 8 hours and I go to bed at 2 a.m., that's not always the best thing. But I'll step off of my pedestal there. Um, Really quick, big news in SEC. Florida, they lost. They dropped one in a midweek to UCF yesterday. That was big. And somebody had made the comment on Twitter somewhere where it was that they just didn't look like themselves. They just looked off. They didn't look there. Um, Midweek games are so important, especially with a schedule like the SEC. It almost feels like, oh, okay, I can like take a little bit of a breather, a break before I get back into the weekend. You cannot do that. And I think again, I'm gonna go back to what Bree said as an at bat, right? You go into the next at bat and you can't take it off. Oh, I won this big series, like I can just take off. And that might not be the verbiage that they're using in their head, but having, and it's not just Florida. You look back a couple weeks ago, there was a huge upsets going on, I think from 3 or 4 or 5 teams in the SEC. And Oklahoma, I mean, they didn't get upset, but their game against Wichita State, high scoring, had the opportunity to close it out. Pitching couldn't get it done. And these are some of the top teams in the country. It is being able to reset and go into these midweeks with laser focus, being locked in on all cylinders. And that is a hard place to live. That is a hard thing to do. But we are done talking about Florida as far as how they played. I want to talk about Florida as in what kind of school it is. I remember, so last year I got to call the Florida Regional and it was so much fun. I had a blast. I got there and typically you'll get in a few days early to interview the coaches and some of the members of the different teams that are there for regionals. And I'm the type of person who will do my prep work, but I like to make the most of my experience. And so I went out with my play by play. We ate at a couple different restaurants. I explored a little bit and got to go around. And of course, I had a bunch of Gator girls, alums, kind of telling me where to go and what places to hit up. But UF as a campus, I absolutely loved. I walked around the campus, I took a run, and it was beautiful. There's trees sprawling everywhere. It was warm, yes, of course. It was close to summertime, but just the shade from the trees, like it made walking through campus beautiful. Um, I Everybody just seemed happy and tan. There's not much to complain about, but we'll start at their facilities. Their facilities are beautiful. What they've done, the renovations that they made, but the field itself, I got to walk on the field, and that's one thing that I love to do. As I think as a former player, just knowing whenever you go to a new college stadium, you have to get a lay of the land. You have to see how does the ball roll, all these things. Does it bounce? Are there any gaps? And so as an analyst now, I love going onto a field and just kind of sussing it out and seeing, all right, like, is there something there that I possibly couldn't see up from the box that I could tell if I was on the field? Their field is spotless. Their grounds crew do a phenomenal job, and their fans were ruthless. There was a couple, and both of them, they had like a little gator hat and they were just adorable, but their fans were on it. They were loud. They have this area out in by their bullpen, out in left field where there's all these chairs reclining. If you ever watched Florida play a game at home, you've probably seen them. That part, I love that piece, and then they have a bunch of sunflowers growing out there in left field as well. I think that was probably one of my favorite touches about the stadium, but whenever you go into we had one of the coaches for Florida, Francesca, she showed us around, um, the area a little bit and, the stadium underneath and the works. It was incredible, state of the art, like, that's what you're gonna get whenever you go to an SEC program, but what they have done over there in the renovations, I mean, it's really been impressive, and it's fun as a softball fan, as a former collegiate player, as an analyst, to be able to go and call over there. Um, so I would say the top was one of the restaurants that I went to, and it was like it just felt like a very like local hole in the wall kind of place. There is a poke bowl. It is about 3 minutes from campus or from the softball field. Um, they had really great poke bowls. Obviously, I think they had sushi burritos as well. I didn't try it, but I got the poke bowl twice. I went back twice. The servings were massive. The food was very fresh. You could taste the fish. It was very fresh. Um, and the flavors, and they had a ton of options. That was great. And then the Swamp restaurant, I feel like that one, like you just kind of have to go if you've ever been. Now coffee places, there are a ton of different coffee places around there. So I honestly, I got a new place every single time. So I can't really highlight just one because seriously, every single one that I went to were great. There was a vegan, I can't remember the name, but there was a vegan coffee place that I even went to and I couldn't taste the difference. And I'm not vegan. So if that tells you anything. Um, that's all I have for you guys. But one thing that I am just so excited about as this season continues to unfold and we're seeing a lot of competition, I'm seeing these teams really start to make these adjustments, especially the ones in the lower half in rankings for SEC. I'm starting to see these teams start to make adjustments, and you're starting to see the rolling start to happen. All the gears are starting to align in place, because in the beginning you're going off of preseason momentum, you're going off of nobody's seen you, you're going off of my body's fresh. Whenever you get to this latter half of conference play, everybody's tired, which we talked about, but also everybody has a scout on you. Everyone knows Carlin Pickens throws hard, but it's different whenever you see Carlin Pickens, how hard she throws this year, and have a scout on her. And Arkansas, they won that series. That was massive because Tennessee, they're very, very good. And that is not an easy feat to do. But being able to have that scout, being able to make those adjustments before you even step foot onto in the box, that just helps you so much. So I'm seeing a bunch of different teams in the SEC really start to rely a little bit more on those scouts and not necessarily how fresh their body is or the unknown components. We're starting to see a little bit more gamesmanship, which I'm always personally a fan of. But before I go, I want to remind you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I have a couple questions for y'all. One, who do we think is the best pitcher in the SEC? Carlin Pickens is a big choice, a big answer. Rothrock, she could have been, but I don't know. Sam Landry just won SEC Pitcher of the Week for her third time. Didn't have the best outing last night. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm curious what you guys think, but I'm your host, Nicole Mendes. It has been so good talking to you, and I'll see you next week.